Welcome to the Rap Soul Podcast, where we dive deep into the world of music that moves our hearts and gets our feet tapping. This is the intersection of rap and soul music from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. We appreciate you for listening. Share this podcast with a friend or family member who loves music as much as you do. The podcast is hosted by 12 Kyle. Next up, the Rap Soul Podcast.
Welcome to another edition of the Rap Soul Podcast. I am your boy 12 Kyle. Once again, I want to thank you all for tapping in and tuning in as you do each and every week. This is the Rap Soul Podcast. This is the intersection where we have discussions of music, specifically R&B, hip hop, rap, and soul music from the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s. This is the best music podcast that you've never heard until right now. Again, I want to thank you all for tapping in. As you can see, I have a guest. If you're watching on YouTube, you can't see him because why would you see him?
Yeah, John Cena.
He's so low key that you might not see him. He's undercover, taking it easy. Back in the building again. Not his last time. He's been on before. Great friend of the show, my homie Eclectik is in the building. E, what up, baby?
Yo, what's up, everybody? How you doing? 12. I am here to uphold the 80s and the 90s part of this mission statement for this podcast. I hope all is well.
Hey man, listen, everything's good. Glad to have you back. You were so gracious enough to bless the platform with. We did the album review for LL Cool J's Bad, Bigger Endeavor, and that seemed to be a hit, man. People really loved the episode.
Yeah.
They love having you on. A couple people, I don't know who they were. They said, hey, when is he coming back? So
yeah, I mean, listen, here's the thing. If I'm not on your podcast's not really on.
Oh Lord, here you go. Nonetheless, man, I got you back on, man. I got this idea from this meme that I saw, and here's the great thing about this episode that we're about to present to you guys. He has no idea as to what we're going to talk about. So he's learning in real time as you are.
Yeah, just like life. I have no idea, and I am learning in real time.
No idea whatsoever. So what it is, there was a meme that came out, and it had 4 MCs, and it was a debate as to how many classics each MC had. Now, you guys know how I feel about the word classic, but play along with me on this episode. Obviously, having a classic is subjective, and not many people can say that they have classics, but here's the key. Eclectik does not know the 4 MCs. So we're going to talk about 4 MCs, and I'm pretty sure that he's pretty familiar with their discography. And then what we're going to do is I'm just going to ask him flat out. We're going to talk about the MC, and then I'll propose the question as to how many classic albums does he think that this person has. And then we'll go from there.
Pardon me. I have my hand up.
Okay, I see it.
What is the Rap Soul Podcast definition or criteria of a classic, so that I am actually participating in the best way possible?
Well, for this one, let's just go with what we think people might call a classic. Because
all right, so people, not me.
Yeah, not you. Because here's the thing: you and I, we're similar. We have similar taste in music, particularly.
No, we don't. You just told me you was jamming off the Tyler the Creator.
Hey, listen,
fucking with your shoulders going.
Chronomonopoeia, whatever the name of that album was.
See, look, now I thought you just did a magical spell. I don't know what just happened right there.
And the new Dolce album is tight too. I like her.
Listen. I'm going to let you continue, everybody. If you ever thought that Kyle was not them boys,
I've never been.
I hope that he just displayed and illustrated why he and himself only is them boys. Go ahead. I apologize for hijacking.
That's a long running joke. We'll tell that joke at some point. So here's the thing. You and I, we have similar tastes as far as hip hop is concerned. And here's the thing: the MCs that we're going to name, they have questionable classics. So just do it based on, what you think people might say.
Popular opinion.
Popular opinion, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be yours because you might think AZ has a classic album. Okay, hey, just testing the waters. Just testing the waters. All right, first MC that we're going to talk about it is none other than Brad Jordan, Houston's own Scarface. Scarface made his debut in the mid to late 80s, coming out of Houston, Texas, group called Ghetto Boys, if you're not familiar. When you think about Scarface, what comes to mind when you talk about him and his music and his, what you know of his discography?
I think of two things. The first thing I think of is the Ghetto Boys. Mm-hmm. And the second thing I think of is I don't enjoy him as a solo artist.
Really?
And it was merely because of, I'm going to be as brief as possible. No, I am a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of the Ghetto Boys.
Okay.
Love the Ghetto Boys. I celebrate their entire discography. I've gripped it on another level.
You've never gripped.
I've gripped it. I've gripped it. I couldn't be stopped. Even if you wanted to go to good, bad, and ugly, which you shouldn't. But
right.
After the gentleman left the group, he was replaced by my favorite Southern MC, Gigantic Michael.
Man, listen.
Fly holes and chains and swinging things. So, but that's neither here nor there. What happened was I enjoyed Scarface on the Ghetto Boys, but the tipping point for me personally, and no one else feels this way, and I understand, was his flow and cadence on Seen a Man Cry, Die, whatever. I loathe that song because I was thinking, why are you rhyming like that? He's never rhymed like that ever, period. And I just thought that song was awful and it turned me off. So, but.
Okay.
But.
Hey, that's an honest opinion, man. I echo those sentiments. I was a huge Ghetto Boys fan as well. They were really my introduction to Southern rappers. Prior to that, I think I'd been maybe exposed to Luke a little bit, but not like that. And I don't think I took Luke and Two Live Crew serious as far as rapping was concerned. But the Ghetto Boys, the first cats from the South that I knew that could rap. And Scarface, obviously, in my opinion, was the standout MC in the group. And much like you, I really enjoyed the Ghetto Boys. I wasn't sure how things were going to go when he went solo, but unlike you, I really loved his solo efforts. And he had quite a few. Mr. Scarface is Back. The World Is Yours. Mr. Scarface is Back came out in 91. The World Is Yours in 93. The Diary, 1994, which I think had the song that you're talking about, Never Seen a Man Cry Till I've Seen a Man Die. 97's The Untouchable. 1998, My Homies. 2000, The Last of a Dying Breed, and 2002, The Fix. 2006, My Homies Part 2, Made in 2007, Emeritus in 2008, and Deeply Rooted in 2015. All right, so now let's move to the next MC. From Los Angeles, O'Shea Jackson, a.k.a. Ice Cube. Give me your thoughts on Ice Cube and his discography, or at least from what you know.
Ice Cube at one point was a top 5 rapper in hip hop, I believe. And I don't think that people in my circle would have argued.
Okay.
I think that he was incredibly influential. He was smart enough to get that group together. N.W.A. with Eazy-E, obviously. He had the CIA. And the most brilliant thing he's ever done was purposely not to be on something to dance to on Straight Outta Compton. That guy, he's like, look, I'm all over this album. I'm going to write, I'm going to do it, I'm going to perform, but I will not. He's like, hey, yo, Arabian. Nah, you got it. Go ahead, man.
I'm going out of town.
Yeah, I'm going where? I'm going.
Right.
Anyway, but I think I also think that because at one point, at least I and a lot of people consider him a top 5 rapper, he has probably the biggest or top 5 decline in the history of rap. Because I mean, once upon a time in the projects, give me that beat, fool. It was once said by men who couldn't quit. And then you be clubbing? What the fuck? Hey, dog, you are not gonna be clubbing on my watch. I am not going to put my back into it. How about that, O'Shea?
Gosh, that was just as bad.
How about that? See, it wasn't true in the beginning, but by the tail end of his career, he was truly the nigga I love to hate. So, but that is my opinion on.
Man, boy, you stupid. You know what? That's funny. I like that you said that because you gave him his props. Much like you, I was introduced to Ice Cube through N.W.A. Became a huge fan. I mean, like Ice Cube is one of my as far as favorites, not the best, but Ice Cube's probably my top 5 as far as favorite rappers. But I'm a huge fan of his early work. The later work, not so much. His solo work obviously kicked off in 1990 with America's Most Wanted. Then he had Death Certificate in 91, The Predator in 1992, Lethal Injection in 93.
Hey, you can stop there.
Then War and Peace.
Oh, and move on to the next rapper.
War and Peace. And I think that was was that a double CD? I think that was a double
CD. He had it was just War and Peace 1 and 2.
1 and 2.
And they was like 2 years apart.
Yeah. Laugh Now, Cry Later in 2006. Raw Footage. I don't even think I remember that one. In 2008. I Am the West in 2010. Everything's Corrupt in 2018. And then just last year, at the time of this recording, he recorded Man Down for 2024.
And don't forget his little West Side Connection days and his who's my man's Gorillas in the Mist. Yeah, the Lynch Mob.
I had the Lynch Mob tape. Yep.
And don't forget them. So he had the West Side Connect Gang BB Bang.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he did.
And the little bullshit with Mount Westmore.
Oh, I forgot about that. Snoop and Too Short. And was it Too Short and was E40 in that too?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, Cube has been around obviously. Again, one of my favorites. I love the early work. So we've covered Ice Cube. Now let's move to the East. Queensbridge.
Thank you.
Look, see, there you go with your biases. Let's move to the East. Queensbridge. Nasir Jones. Nas, incredible MC. Talk about Nas and his discography.
Nas he's a very interesting person, MC. Because if you really listen to rap, you heard him on Live at the Barbecue before anybody's ever heard anything about his first album. And if you are familiar with soundtracks, you heard Halftime before Illmatic came out. But the reason why I paused and stuff is because he was the first one to get the 5 mics in the Source. And the 5 mics that was in the Source came out well before the album. So it was one of the most anticipated. He was, I'm not saying he is, but he is. I'm not saying that he is, but it was akin to Michael Jackson. And what I mean by that is after, when Thriller was out, they promoted, hey, I know y'all love Beat It and Billie Jean, but it's this video about to come out in a couple of weeks. Oh, y'all gonna love it. And then Thriller came out. It was a whole thing. And that was kind of like, well, Nas, it was like, yeah, we know y'all listen to all these rappers, but it's this new kid. Oh, wait till y'all hear it. That's the best shit we ever heard. And we're like, all right. And then it was. So the reason why I made the Michael Jackson comparison was because they were like, oh, y'all love Thriller. Shh. This dude got this thing called Bad coming out. And we about to block out a couple hours on TV to premiere his video. And then it was like, yo, Nas about to do It Was Written. Like, oh, it was the most anticipated album, rap album. Nobody was waiting for Reasonable Doubt. Nobody.
Trust me.
Yeah, nobody was out in their lawn chairs waiting for our Razzcast's Soul on Ice.
Dope album, by the way. Right?
It was not, but we could talk about that at another time.
I like that.
So, All Eyes on Me, great, cool, Stakes is High, love that album. I like it better than It Was Written, but boy, we did not wait for nothing like we did a Nas album. And then it became almost cliched where you would get an album, you would get the Raekwon album, you get the Mobb Deep album, and you would hear about what's a Nas song on there. That'd be like you would either go to that song first or just be like, I can't wait till that song come on because I know Nas about to kill it. So throughout this, after those particular albums, some people and their fandom kind of waned. And they weren't as impressed. They weren't impressed. He took 3 years off after It Was Written. And then he gave us consecutive years of, all right. And then he had a resurgence. He killed a camel. And then he had, you know what he did? He's about as close as you're gonna do with Jordan.
Okay.
He came out. He three-peated. He released albums, but he might as well have bounced. And then he came back and three-peated again. So, and plus The Firm and No One Cares About Distant Relatives.
It was okay. I like it. It was good for what it was.
I would never know.
That's a great breakdown, and I agree 1,000%.
I just called Nas Michael Jackson and Michael Jordan in one sentence, and I don't think he's either, but
right.
It's a good comparison.
It is a good comparison, especially when you follow his discography. Much like you, Nas is one of my favorites. Period. I think he's one of the best. On my personal top 5, I had him as second best lyricist in hip hop history. Of course, Nas gave us Illmatic in 1994, as E mentioned. Then followed that up with It Was Written in 1996. 1999, I Am. And then, yeah, I Am came out in April of 99. Then he followed that up immediately with, and I didn't realize they were in the same year, November of 99, Nostradamus.
He thought he was DMX.
Yeah, and that wasn't good. Came back with 2001 Stillmatic, 2002 Godson, Streets Disciples, which was a double album in 2004. Hip Hop Is Dead, which set off a lot of controversy in 2006. The Untitled album, 2008, speaking of controversial. Life is Good in 2012. The Nasir album, I think that was the Kanye produced album.
It was.
Oh, yeah, 7 songs. Not really memorable, but okay. 2018. King's Disease, 2020. King's Disease 2 in 2021. Magic in 2021. King's Disease 3 in 2022. Magic 2 in 2023. And Magic 3 in 2023. So this last little run that Nas has been on has been very impressive, particularly to people who weren't around or into Nas in his first iteration of his career, as he mentioned. So I love Nas. I've said it before, and it's worth repeating. I mean, that Nostradamus album, there may be 2 songs that I listen to on that entire album, and that's it. But we're not here to critique the albums. I just wanted to kind of give you some context. So, I mean, he has had duds, but he's put out some solid efforts as well. And now our last MC, we mentioned him just a few minutes ago, Marcy Project's own Sean Corey Carter. Made his debut in 1996, and he got married, and he dropped a bunch of albums, ran a label, and a whole bunch of other stuff. He talked about Jay-Z's discography.
Thing with me and Jay-Z, because you know we hang out. So, full transparency, way back in the day, because I'm old, I used to watch the videos on the television and record videos, and I recall watching Jazz and Hawaiian Sophie, and I thought the Hawaiian Sophie, I still have my video cassette tape with Hawaiian Sophie on it, and I remember, you know, he said, you know, Hi, My Name Is Jazz did amazing. He said, the rapper, and he's like, and my partner Jay-Z, and they showed Jay-Z. But at the time, that was his partner. I don't care, you know, whatever. But Jay-Z did say 3 words on that song. So I was like, all right, cool, whatever. Then Jazz's next single and next video was The Originators. And Jay-Z was rhyming on it. And I loved that song. It was super fast. I was the only person, it seemed like I was the only person that ever even heard that song. Because I would go into school rapping the song.
Okay. And
everyone would look at me like, yo, that's dope. No, I didn't. I didn't know. I didn't. That's the originators of Jazz and Jay-Z. They was like, we have no idea who those people are. And I said, Hawaiian Sophie. They're like, oh yeah, we know that guy. I said, well, anyway. So I always loved that song. Fast forward to college. I'm in the dorm room, and I'm watching videos because this is what you do.
Of course.
I'm watching videos. Well, helicopter comes down. I'm like, I don't know what this is. And then there was like, yeah. And then on the little screen, it was like Jay-Z. And I was like, yo, from The Originators. And everybody in the dorm room was like, what are you talking about? I was like, nah, this dude is good. This y'all don't remember Original Flake? I was like, no, this guy is good. And they were like, how do you, this is his first song. I was like, it's not his first song. But and so their presence came on, and I was like, yo, this guy's about to be out of here. Because I had already knew him like 5-6 years ahead of this. And so then when Reasonable Doubt came out, I was like, hey, here it is. Now, I feel that Jay-Z had an incredible run of albums for most people. I also feel that Jay-Z has microwave albums. They're hot for the moment. For the moment, that's the hottest. You only need that album. You can play that album all the months and you're good. But there's only maybe three songs that you'll play once the next one comes out. Once the next album come out, then that's the hottest shit, and you don't give a damn about the album that came out before it.
Right.
And so I think that's what happens to him. I don't think he has a lot of Oh yeah, they was doing that dance when that came out. Oh yeah, we was wearing jerseys when that came out. It's never those. Oh man, he just got. It's like all right, but anyway. So yeah, he did a whole bunch of albums, and I think it's a curve, but I think most people would say if you wanted to put it as blunt as possible, he progressively got worse as his career continued. It was a decline. It was like if you bought fucking let me think. If I can't think of yeah, all right. If you bought Ponderosa stock in the 80s, it ain't worth shit now.
Right. Not a damn thing.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Yeah, I think you make some great points, man. Much like you, I came on to Jay-Z the same way that you did. Um, I actually didn't. I remember him from the video with Jazz, but not like that. And I think I'd heard. I can't even. I know I heard the original Flavor song, but I never correlated that song with him. So my introduction to Jay-Z wasn't until the Reasonable Doubt album came out. And something I want to go back to something that you said a little earlier. Nobody was checking for that Reasonable Doubt album. That is true. Like Reasonable Doubt is held in a very high standard now, and rightfully so. But the thing I always try to tell people, particularly people who weren't around, and it was not your fault if you weren't around in '96. E and I were in college at the time, so we were outside and we were into music like that. But no, I mean, the album grew over a period of time, but it wasn't like and I know I got the album a month after it came out. And when I went to the store, like there was nobody beating down it wasn't the shelves weren't bare with, one last Jay-Z CD. I mean, like it was a bunch of CDs there because it was a slow burn. And Jay-Z will tell people like that album was a slow burn as far as its growth is concerned. And I don't even know if that album ever went, it went platinum, but it was a very slow platinum at that. But Jay-Z, and I think people, by the time the second album came out, people were able to go back to the first album, and the first album realized, once they heard Reasonable Doubt again, they're like, okay, this guy's legit. But great career. I agree with E on that. The fact that I think his, discography tails off. It's been tailing off for a while, in my opinion. But let me give you the albums. Reasonable Doubt, obviously, like I said, 1996. He comes back in 1997 and drops in My Lifetime Volume 1. Volume 2, Hard Knock Life, comes out in 98. Volume 3, The Life and Times of Sean Carter, S. Carter.
Yeah.
Come on, man. I ain't even gonna talk about you in this album that came out in 99. The Dynasty, Rock La Familia, 2000. And then in 2001, we have The Blueprint that came out on September 11th. And Jay will not let you forget that. Blueprint 2, The Gift and the Curse, 2002. The Black Album, which was supposed to be Jay-Z's last album, 2003. But he came back 3 years
His
later.
legacy would be so different if that was really his last album.
It could have been the equivalent of Jordan hitting that shot against Utah and never playing for the Wizards.
And then it turned into Patrick Ewing playing for the Sonics.
Yo, I totally forgot Pat Ewing was on the Sonics until I saw a highlight maybe about 2 weeks ago, and somebody dunked on him. I was like, damn, what is he doing in the Sonics uniform?
I don't know. That was his Magna Carta.
So Kingdom Come comes out in 2006, American Gangster in 2007, The Blueprint 3, 2009, Magna Carta Holy Grail, 2013, and 444 in 2017. And at the time of this recording, he has not made another album since then. Prayerfully, he won't make any more.
Well, I mean, you gotta,
And we're not. I mean, you can count the Best of Both Worlds.
No. You're missing a very important one.
The Watch the Throne stuff with Kanye?
I mean, yeah.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
The Carters, man. What are you talking? What are you doing? What are you doing?
We did an episode. I can't remember. It was on the flagship station on the 12 Kyle podcast. And he said that Beyonce watched Jay-Z on that album.
She did.
What was the song? What was the song?
All of them.
No. What was the single?
Oh, the one she actually rapped and killed him on
Ape Shit. That was it. Ape Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Listen, I laughed so hard when he said that. Oh my gosh, we were cracking up. So yeah, there you have it, folks. So what we're gonna do right now, we're gonna take a quick commercial break. On the other side of the break, we'll try to figure out how many classics each one of these MCs have. Sit tight, we'll be back in just a second. If you want a podcast where culture, conversation, and life collide, where you get insightful commentary, engaging discussions, and a fresh perspective on everything, then you need to listen to the 12 Kyle podcast. Hosted by the one and only, yours truly, 12 Kyle, a voice that you know and trust. This podcast will bring you thought-provoking moments, compelling stories, and a whole lot of fun. Whether you're a first-time listener or just tuning in, each episode promises to be something new and exciting. So sit back, relax, join 12 Kyle, myself, and my guests as we break down the world around us and give you stories that you've never heard before, from nostalgic throwbacks to everything in between. The 12 Kyle podcast is a front row seat to this conversation. Subscribe now and never miss an episode of the 12 Kyle podcast, where the vibe is always real and the discussion is always worth your time. Are you feeling nostalgic for the golden eras of rap and soul music? If so, tune in to the Rap Soul podcast. We are your weekly journey through the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, spotlighting the music and the hidden gems that shape the soundtrack of our lives. From the powerful beats to the soulful melodies, we bring you the best of the past with fresh insights and stories. Rediscover the music that defined a generation. Subscribe to the Rap Soul podcast and enjoy the vibes. And just like that, we are back. Once again, it's your boy 12 Kyle. This is the Rap Soul podcast. And I'm kicking it with my boy Eclectic in the building.
Yo, what up, everybody? Thank you for being here. You could be listening to anything else, and you probably should be listening to my podcast. But since you're not, and you're listening to this, thank you, and welcome in, as they say.
Yeah, they'll find out. They'll know where to go to catch your podcast, both of them, by the time we finish here. So before the break, we broke down the discographies of each of the four MCs: Scarface, Ice Cube, Nas, and Jay-Z. So let's take it back to Scarface. I ran down the list. I just want to ask you, how many classics do you personally think that Scarface has? And then we'll get into the meat and potatoes, and I'll ask how many you think people would say that Scarface has. So first up, how many classics do you think he has?
Does Ghetto Boys count?
Yes, let's go ahead and count Ghetto Boys.
If Ghetto Boys count,
he's thinking.
If Ghetto Boys count, 0. Nah, still 0. None for me. Okay. I almost would give it to him on Grip It on the Other Level or Making Trouble. Mm-hmm. But I don't like what they did with the songs, and like the highs are highs, but then there's songs like No Curfew. You like, I don't. Like, all right, man, I'm good. And like We Can't Be Stopped has Mom Playing Tricks on Me, but it also has Chucky. So yeah. So for me personally, 0. Now, if you're gonna ask me what the people say, the people say they'll give you at least one Ghetto Boys. They'll probably give you The Diary, and they'll probably give you The Fix.
Okay.
So then that would be 3, and I would disagree with all of them.
Okay, that's fair. I would probably say, I don't think, well, let me go with the people. I think the people probably would give The Diary and The Fix as classics. I would probably say The Diary is a classic, but The Fix isn't. And I love... The Fix is probably my favorite. No, I'm not going to say probably. The Fix is my favorite solo Scarface album. And it got 5 mics, but it wasn't a 5 mic album.
So you mean to tell me you're going live? You hey man, stop that. You're going live on this podcast and you're telling me that the fix is not as good as the Notorious K.I.M. That is what you're telling me. That's a 5 mic album.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's not as good.
All right.
So yeah, I think the fix. Most people say the fix and the diary, but like I said, Scarface, incredible MC, and I think he's got he's up there as far as where people will rank him. But these albums in this discography, so I'm gonna say. So you said the people would say 2.
So no, I said me 0, people 3. You're saying you 1, the people 2.
Okay. All right. So let me write this down. 0 for E, people 3, and me 2, and the people 2 and me 1. Me 1. Okay. All right, now let's go to O'Shea Jackson, Ice Cube. That discography, E, that discography is something else.
Yeah, it's special, ain't it?
Yeah, so since we included that, let's include the N.W.A. Straight Outta Compton album. If you want to add in Bow Down with the West Side Connection, if you want to throw in, the Mount Westmore, you can do that as well. I don't know if they're going to get you any closer to a classic, but that's neither here nor there.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say he has 1, and that is America Cosmos, because everyone knows Straight Outta Compton cannot be a classic if it has something to dance to on it. You can't. It's not possible. If you put something to dance to on Illmatic, it's a piece of shit.
Y'all see my face right now?
Listen.
You can't see his face, but y'all see my face right now?
You put something to dance to on Off the Wall, it's a piece of shit album.
Rod Temperton, rest in peace, and Quincy Jones would throw Michael Jackson out of the studio if he even came to him with something to dance to.
You put something to dance to on the Songs in the Key of Life, and that album is a piece of shit. So I'm not giving Straight Outta Compton the classic thing. That's just me.
Okay, yeah, that's you.
Something to dance to. Now,
dance to the music.
No, that is Queen Latifah or Slime, but. I say 1. I think the people would say Straight Outta Compton, America Cuz, Death Certificate, and I think if they were smart enough, they'd just shut up at that point. So I say 1, people say 3.
Okay. That's interesting. Well, I'm obviously going to give Straight Outta Compton a classic.
You them boys, so it makes
I'm not them boys. America Cuz, Death Certificate. So that's 1, 2, 3. So 3. The Predator, and nothing else after that.
A lot of people like Lethal Injection though.
I like it, but it wasn't a classic. It wasn't a classic. So for me, I'll say 3. I'll say the people will say. Yeah, see, that's kind of tough. You're gonna have some that West Side, and I like that West Side, that Bow Down album, but it wasn't a classic. I say the same. I say the people say 3.
All right, 3. See, I am tuned in to what the people say. I know what the people say.
So you say. All right, let's go to Nas. What say you?
Master Dermis.
Oh, stop it. That could never be.
Nasty tonight. All right. I'm going to say Nasir. I'm tanking Um. Okay. Personal opinion.
Yeah, let's go with E first.
Personal opinion. 1.
Okay.
Illmatic.
Okay.
I think he has the most disappointing spades hand ever because he got like 3 possibles, but it's like, man,
Winning the P, you're giving him one.
yeah, like this Queen of Hearts ain't gonna walk though.
Hey, this Jack of Diamonds is about to make it.
like I know, like I feel good about it, but I'm not gonna tell my partner, yo, I got 3. I'm like, nah, man, I got 1 over here. So I don't want anyone to think that I'm shitting on his discography.
Right.
But if you're saying classics, it's like he got some stuff that he has a couple of something to dance to's on his album.
Right.
So
he does, literally.
So that's why I'm not. So, but I think, I would give it to It Was Written, but I can't listen to If I Ruled the World Again, and I can't listen to. I personally don't like the setup. Mm-hmm. I don't want to listen to Suspect. I don't want to listen to those. I really, really love Stillmatic, but I'm not listening to none of the last 3.
Second
4.
childhood, man. Come on, man. Come on.
That's in my top 5, 10 now songs. Second Childhood, but I will not listen to the last 4 songs. On the last 4 songs is "Rule," "My Country," "What Goes Around," and "Every Ghetto." I'm not listening to none of those ever.
Yeah,
even if A. Marie's on it, so no. But anyway. I say all that to say, I say 1. I think the people will say, Illmatic, It Was Written. They will say either one of Stillmatic and Godson. I think one of those. I think they'll say probably 2 of the 3 King's Diseases. And I think they'll say 1 of the Magics. So, wow. Yeah, I think because this is my real brief. This is my theory. A lot of people who are vocal on social media and the internet and all of these things about music and Nas in particular weren't alive when Illmatic and It Was Written came out.
This is true.
Or they were 2. They didn't listen to it. And so they see how Illmatic and It Was Written was celebrated, but they missed out. But they recognized, damn, these old motherfuckers might be up to something because that dude is nice. Right. So then when he kills a camel and then in his big age drops Nasir with their hero Kanye, and then drops King's Disease and Magic with all of their ampersand Rockies and fucking all these little fuckity fucks, and they're like, yeah, that's our shit. So so they celebrate like, he dropped a classic, because now you drop a classic every week. It's just you don't talk about it the week after. We're still talking about Illmatic. We're still talking about Illmatic, but they'll say King's Disease, he killed it, that's a classic, and then they don't say shit about King's Disease that next Thursday. But so I think they'll pick 1 or 2 of the King's Diseases because that's their Illmatic, It Was Written type shits, and 1 of the Magics because they're like, look, he just don't stop, he keep doing it, and so then they'll give Illmatic It Was Written out of respect because they know you can't deny those albums. And then I think they'll just pick 1 more. So I'm going to say that the people will say 5 or 6. Okay. I say 1, the people say 5 or 6. Now the people would be wrong, but 5 or 6.
Okay. I don't think you're far off there. I will definitely say Illmatic. and Stillmatic. Godson, no. I have a hard time with the King's Disease, both Kings, well, the King's Disease and the Magics. And I think that they are great albums. I fall short of calling them classics because, like, like when I think classics, even if I'm just comparing them to his previous work, I don't think that they stack up against and it's not me being nostalgic or anything like that. I think those are great albums. So and I'll just use Magic 3. I love Magic 3. It's a 4 mic album. There's no shame in having a 4 mic album. I think you would want to be celebrated for having a 4 mic album. But if Illmatic is a 5 mic and Stillmatic is a 5 mic, and they both got 5 mics in the source, and you say Magic 3 is a 4 mic album, there's no shame in that.
Listen, if Illmatic is the bar at 5 mics.
Right. That's a high bar, man.
Magic 3 is not a 4 mic album. You're saying Magic 3 is like, oh, it's just 1 song away or 2 songs away. And then it would be Illmatic? No.
Magic is about 2, maybe 3 songs away.
Then it's like a 3 mic album.
That's the eclectic scale.
Okay. All right.
The disgust in his voice. So I would say 2. He's got 2 classics. I think I agree with you, but the people might say 5 because they're going to give Illmatic a classic. They're going to say It Was Written as a classic. Now, and I think you and I may have talked about this offline. There is a segment of people, hip hop fans, who think that It Was Written is better than Illmatic.
They talk about it weekly on X.
Crazy.
And I think they're also on X.
Well played. I don't begrudge him. I actually talked to one of the homies. He's younger than us, and he said
everybody's younger than us.
I know, right? He basically said, like, It Was Written was his introduction to hip hop.
Sorry. It's not hip hop's fault. You can't blame hip hop.
Exactly. So he had to go back to Illmatic, and he's like, he fell in love with It Was Written, and I was explaining to him, like, It Was Written was a good album, but it was a fall off for us because we were expecting Illmatic 2, and we got Esco. I mean, we were thinking we thought we were getting Nasty Nas, and we got Esco. And it was cool, I guess, and it grew on.
We've never gotten Illmatic 2. Even Stillmatic was an Illmatic 2.
I think the closest. What do you think about the Lost Tapes? You think that's close?
Well, that doesn't count because the Lost Tapes is half the shit that he recorded when he did Illmatic. The closest thing to Illmatic is Stillmatic.
Yeah,
but it's still not Illmatic.
I forgot about Rule. You said Rule. Damn, you took me back. I hate that song. Oh my gosh, I hate that song.
I'm trying to tell you, the last 4 songs on Stillmatic is why that is a 3.5 to me.
You know why it stands like that with me? Because I haven't heard it in a while. And I think sometimes, like, we have a certain picture of where an album is or where it was when we last listened to it. And I haven't listened to Stillmatic probably in about 4 or 5 years.
Son, if he would have did it like Illmatic and it was 10 songs, like the first 10 songs, even though hot take alert, Stillmatic features the worst of the Nas and AZ collaborations.
There you go.
Still good. Still good. They have never dropped a dud.
No, never.
But it is the worst of the 5, I believe.
I disagree, but it's all good. So I think people will probably say, I think the people will give it 5, because they're gonna those albums with, just him and Hit Boy, with those last 5 or 6 albums that he did, that run has been crazy and people love it. And for, like you said, and I think you made a great point in saying that for a lot of people, that this run right here that he's been on these last few albums, that's been their version of Illmatic, and It Was Written. So I can't, necessarily, I can only tell you what the people think. So last but not least, Jay-Z. How many classics are you giving Jay-Z? And how many do you think the people will give Jay-Z?
This one's easy for me. This one's much like Scarface for me. I know. Now, me personally, zero. Now, I say this because all of his first 5, 6 albums, I enjoy. Enjoyed.
Yes.
They did not stand the test of time for me. A lot of the singles did, but the album as a complete project, no. Reasonable Doubt, when Reasonable Doubt came out, I was like, this is one of them ones. But I don't care to listen to 22 Twos or The Evils or Cashmere Thoughts or Coming of Age ever. I will listen to Politics as Usual and Feeling It and Can I Live on repeat for 5 hours. And will rap every word every time, and Regrets. I'll listen to those forever.
Okay.
I love those songs. But those other ones, nah. And if you're talking album, then no. I think In My Lifetime Volume 1 is better than Reasonable Doubt. And no one will say Volume 1 is a classic. So, my favorite is Volume 3. And no one will say that that's a classic. No. That's my favorite Jay-Z album, and I'm not saying that it's a classic. So if my favorite Jay-Z album, I don't think it's a classic, I can't say he has any for me.
Right.
Now, I say 0. I say the people will say Reasonable Doubt. I think they'll say Hard Knock Life. I think they'll say The Blueprint. I think they'll say the Black Album. I think some weirdos will say American Gangster. And I think some even weirder people will say 444. So that's 6 off top. And then I think somebody will say, you know what, Watch the Throne was one of them ones.
Niggas in Paris is one of them ones.
Yeah, so I'm going to say 6 or 7.
Okay.
Unfortunately. But I say 0.
Okay. You know what, man? You make some valid points. I can't agree with everything, but you made some valid points. For me, Reasonable Doubt is one of my favorite albums. I think it's one of the best albums. I said all of the songs you mentioned that you won't play. I literally listen to Reasonable Doubt like a couple of times a month, at least 4 or 5 times a month. So it's never really left my rotation. There was a point in my life where I would literally listen to Reasonable Doubt and Illmatic every Friday. That was my Friday thing.
But what happens when boom, 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 boom comes on? See?
You guys can't see it unless you're watching YouTube. I'm hitting the skip button. Yeah, I Ain't No is a song I never liked. Ironically, I like Foxy's verse, but I like Jay-Z's verse, but that song got old for me real quick. But that's the only skip for me on Reasonable Doubt. But I think if we're talking about classics,
this nigga's listening to Memphis Bleak.
Hey, it's time to come up. A G, I ride with you for free. So Reasonable Doubt, I think, is a classic. Let's see what else. The Blueprint. The Black
I wanted
Album.
to say the Blueprint, and when that came out, that was his best album to me. Okay, when it came out,
that's fair.
But Hola Jovito, he got him something to dance to. That's something to dance to.
That song is god awful. People but hey, well, be careful. The whole Vengers, boy, they love that song. The whole Vengers will be at your neck. Trust me.
And Jigga That Nigga is something to dance to. You can't have 2 something to dance tos, and I'm giving you a classic. That's the UTEP 2-step. That's 2 dances. No, we're not doing.
You are correct. Yeah, I think it's just those 3. I've been very clear.
Whoa. You said Reasonable Doubt,
Blueprint,
the Blueprint, and the Black Album.
Yep.
I thought you liked that bullshit as Crystal Blue Persuasion.
Which one was that?
The fucking American Gangster.
I do. It's not a classic though. Yeah,
Oh, damn.
I like that album, but no, it's not a classic.
All right, my bad. I'm shutting up. Go ahead.
So that's the three for me. For the people, I think they'd say obviously Reasonable Doubt, Hard Knock Life, Blueprint, Black Album. So that's 4 right there. I've heard people go at it about American Gangster. I won't, but let's give them that. So that's 5. And then 444. So that's 6 total. 444 was, and I won't rant on it, but it's not a good album.
It is not.
It is not. It is. It's not even. I don't even think it's Jay-Z. Like Jay-Z, in my opinion, and this is me. Y'all can hold ventures. Y'all can DM me or send hate mail to me. I ain't gonna answer it anyway. I don't think he's been rhyming the same since the Black Album. When the Kingdom Come, like he said a little earlier, that Return album, man, he could have just kept it. And he really has not been the same Jay-Z since he got married and had kids. And I understand, being a father, being a husband, that stuff changes you. I'm not the same person I was before I got married, but I mean,
definitely not.
Stop it. But I mean, I'm not making music for a living either. So,
you should have heard this old podcast, y'all.
Right. Should have heard me on the 12. What was it 12 radio?
The 12 radio. Oh man, Blog Talk. Oh, he was spitting flaming hot shit on those days. You call in
every Wednesday from 9 to 11. Hot shit. No commercials. Just straight talking for 2 hours. Guess or no guess. But yeah, man, I just wanted to get you on here and have this little exercise, man. I knew you'd be perfect for it because you're someone who, like I said, for me with all 4 MCs, you think fast on your feet and you're a hip hop fan, and you gave an honest opinion, man. I think, I don't think even though our numbers don't look the same, I don't think we're far off. Now, here's the thing that I want those who are listening and watching to do. Once you finish listening and watching, hit us up on social media or in the comments on YouTube or whatever. Tell us what your number is for each of these MCs.
They're going to be the number I have for the people. I know what the people want. I know what they like. I know what it is. We just don't agree. I don't want you, because I gave Scarface and Jay-Z a 0, that does not mean I don't celebrate their work. It's just, it's not classic.
Everything can't be a classic. It can't.
Look, you got to. It depends on your definition of classics. It's like classic cars. There's no classic cars that's debuted in the 2000s. It's a certain vintage. It always got to be dope. Some of these things you listen to them when they come out, you're like, oh, this is the best thing ever. And then you don't go back to it. Or if you do go back to it, you go back to those 3 songs you like. Right. That doesn't make that album a classic.
No. And you know what? You realize that when you actually sit and listen to that particular album for all the way through. And then that's when you realize, like, man, why did I like it? And I do this a lot, particularly in reviewing some of these albums. I'm realizing that there's some albums that I liked back then that I probably shouldn't have liked or liked as much as or maybe I didn't like it as much as I thought I did. So, that happens over time. But yeah, I think we have given you you all a baseline. So we would love to hear your opinion. Opinions are golden, and we would like to hear any feedback that you have. Before we get out of here, E-Man, tell them where they can find you, where they can find your podcast and all that good stuff.
Listen. Oh, also, look, Kyle doesn't know this, but there's a preview of a show that we're going to do on the Encyclopedia Hip Hop Podcast. Mm-hmm. So when we're talking about all these albums and how many classics that I have, you know what we're going to do? I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. What we're going to do is we're going to pick an artist. We're going to pick an artist like, I don't know, Jay-Z. Mm-hmm. And the podcast series is going to be called Ultimate Album. And what we're going to do is we're going to take, what do you say, 10 or 12? Pick a number right now.
12.
All right. See, it's 12 counts. So, and each one of us is going to pick 12 songs from that artist that would make their best album. And then we're going to put our albums up against each other, and you guys tell us who has the ultimate album. That's what we're going to do. So, Encyclopedia Hip Hop Podcast, you can find it wherever you pirate and get shit for free from. There's also the Eclectic Discussion Podcast, where I talk a lot of 80s nostalgia, 90s nostalgia, and just be really, really get off my lawn about it. And yeah, so Tweet Rhymes Life, Encyclopedia HH, at Eclectic Podcast on X. There's some shit on Blue Sky, at Eclectic on Tinder. Let's just hit me up.
Man said Tinder.
At Eclectic on Black Planet.
I mean, hey, he's single, ladies.
Yeah.
He's single.
Where you at, Maya?
Stop it. You guys know me. If you don't know me, I'm 12 Kyle. Hi, I'm a Sagittarius. You can find the podcast wherever you get your podcast. 12 Kyle Podcast is the sister station that drops every Thursday and every Sunday at midnight. This is the Rap Soul Podcast. You get these every Monday, and we got classic episodes dropping on Friday. So you're getting 4 episodes a week from this guy. And so all I'm asking you to do is listen and then pass it along to somebody. Again, you can find me on social media at 12 Kyle, at Rap Soul Podcast, at 12 Kyle Podcast on all streaming platforms. On all social media accounts. Twitter, X, Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, TikTok. I'm everywhere.
Farmers Only.
Yeah, that too. And if you want to contribute financially, because unlike my friend Eclectic here, I don't have any money, hit us up on Cash App.
I'm fucking rich.
$TWELVEKYLE. That's going to do it for us. Again, I want to thank you all for checking out the Rap Soul Podcast. This is the best this is just the best music podcast that you've ever heard. So for my man Eclectic, I am your boy 12 Kyle. We'll catch you guys next time. 5,000. Cheers.
Thank you for listening. This concludes the episode. Be sure to subscribe to the Rap Soul Podcast. You can find the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Follow the podcast on social media. And feel free to continue this discussion on our Reddit page. More importantly, share this podcast with a friend or family member who loves music as much as you do. Until next time, 5,000.